Hello folks, welcome back again to the Bear Clan Hiking Podcast series. We're looking at episode 6 today. I'm calling it Diamonds in the Rough. Essentially what we're looking at are 5 of the probably sneakiest little gorgeous trails that you could find in Sedona. There are many others. I have mentioned this in several podcasts. We have over 180 trails in Sedona now, so you're going to be able to find something just as insanely cool as these trails that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to tell you the reasons why I'm selecting these 5 as well. I could have selected 20, that's the truth. There are probably 50 trails that are within reason, anywhere from like 1.5 miles to 3 miles one way, which means you can get up to 6 miles of an easy, relatively easy, simple, but gorgeous views. Ridiculous views in such a short, simple, easy terrain. So I'm going to start with one of my favorites, not just because of the name, but because of its location and its ease of access, as well as sunset views. Skywalker Trail. And if you're wondering, yes, I'm a huge fan of Star Wars, so Skywalker Trail is a little more cool to me than your average trail. So Skywalker Trail is relatively easy. It's got some ups and downs, but it only has an elevation gain of somewhere around 100 feet. Okay, so it's not going to go up super amounts. Now it does have the ability, when you get to the highest point of it, it does have the ability to go down and connect to other trails. But for the purpose of sunsets and making it an easy hike, you don't even have to go a whole 1.9 miles or 2 miles to get there to these vistas. And for sunsets, wow, I mean spectacular. It gives you sunset views of the Oak Creek area as well as Cathedral Rock. And like I said before, it's a short hike, anywhere from about 1 to 2 miles in length one way. And I always say this with every hike, folks, you don't have to go to the end. That's true with anything. You could get on a 12-mile trail, go 2 miles out and come back, that's 4 miles. You're not going to be missing out on the views. It's like everything we have in Sedona has some sort of insane views to it that you are going to be more than happy with. So Skywalker Trail, number 1. Slim Shady is my second one. Kind of like its name, in the summertime, it's going to be a little hotter than usual because there's a lot of open area to walk. But it's gorgeous. You have some down pockets. You can kind of sneak into some tree cover and get some good shade, but it can hit you hard. It's a short hike filled with some gorgeous views of Bell Rock and Courthouse Butte, and along the side of Seven Warriors Mountain, it's just kind of sandwiched in between these views and just constantly showing you different avenues for wonderful photography. It's about 2.5 miles for a one-way walk if you go that way. Relatively flat terrain and not super difficult, but you might have some little pockets where it dips into some creeks where you might have to go down and up, but essentially it's a pretty easy trail to deal with. Next one on the list is one of my favorites. It's called Anaconda. Now there's a couple of access trails to get to Anaconda, but Anaconda in itself is a very short hike, roughly about 1.5 miles. It's just really cool. It's like its name. It's a snake, so therefore it's going to be going left and right, switchbacking, up and around, up and around. But the most cool part about it is when you get to the summit, you're going to be having wide open vista views of Secret Mountain Wilderness. And it's just wide open. You'll be looking all the way from Thunder Mountain all the way over to Bear Mountain and everything in between. And depending on the time of day, this is great for sunrise. Because if you're going up on Anaconda, you might actually catch some of the hot air balloons taking off in the morning. Now, that does mean you're probably going to have to leave real early. But it's kind of cool to be able to see the sunrise and see those hot air balloons taking off and watching them fly in groups. It's really cool. There are switchbacks that go kind of upward. The elevation isn't much more than a couple hundred feet at the most, and it is a relatively easy hike. The switchbacks aren't super aggressive, but they're switchbacks. And when you get to the top, you can continue on down to the backside, catching on to some other connector trails, and get yourself right back to the trailhead. Like I said, there are several different trails connecting to Anaconda, and those would be Snake Trail, AZ Cypress, and Gardner. Those 3 trails will connect somehow to Anaconda. So depending on where your desire is to start, you could end up taking a 1.2 mile hike, or you could end up taking a 6 mile hike if you wanted to do like the loop around Anaconda as well. So it's unbelievably wonderful. The next one is Templeton. Templeton has several access points, but the trail itself is just around 4 miles one way. Depending on which access point you take, you could cut that in half or maybe increase it, because if you want to connect from Slim Shady, you're looking at another mile to a mile and a half added to that. So it all depends on what you're looking for. It's a fairly easy hike as far as it's relatively flat and the elevation really doesn't have much gain, but the views are spectacular, and depending on where you access it from, you might be able to just walk around Cathedral Rock on Templeton Trail. And then once you get around Cathedral Rock, you're going to be going parallel with a trail called Highline. But it's really incredible because you're looking across at the Twin Buttes, at the Mermaid, Submarine Rock, you're looking at Bell Rock and Courthouse Butte. The views out there as you're walking down Templeton is just spectacular. Wonderful for a morning sunrise hike. The last trail I'm going to talk about is Adobe Jack. Adobe Jack is known for its easy access. Essentially, it's just off of 89A, right after the Mariposa restaurant, and it's got a tiny little parking area, so hopefully you won't be too congested there. Maybe about 5-6 parking spots, depending on how people park. Incredibly great windy little trail bringing you ups and downs, down into little pockets, little tiny mini canyons. A great transition into the incredible Arizona cypress forests. There's like little pockets of these incredibly gorgeous cypress trees. There are 6 offshoot trails, and those connect you to about 12 other trails. So you could start on Adobe Jack and cover 6-7 different trails when you get back to your parking lot. So it's incredible and very flexible in what you do and how you get around. It's an excellent trail for families. It's a relatively short hike if you just stay on Adobe Jack. It's about 2.1 miles one way in length. So it's a great little simple jaunt if you're looking for something quick and simple, just as I'm just driving through Sedona and let me do something quick. So there's your top 5 diamonds in the rough. And ultimately you can take them as they are, research them, look at what they are, but I can tell you they are fantastic. Ultimately great for families and great for people that aren't looking to bust their butts on trails. You know, you just want to get a little flavor of Sedona and see the gorgeous views with the flora and fauna. And especially during the springtime, folks, when things are blooming, this place is off the charts. And these diamonds in the rough will completely sell you on coming back to Sedona again. So folks, thank you very, very much for listening in again. And stay tuned for the next podcast. God bless you, be safe, and welcome to Sedona.